What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bulls Latest. I'm Jefferson, and man, it took about 12 hours for Bulls fans to go from we finally got the fourth pick to should we trade the entire franchise for the number one pick? That's how fast this stuff moves. The draft lottery is finally over. The Bulls have the fourth pick, and now we're entering the part where the NBA offseason is just going to be ridiculed with rumors and noise, and everything's going to sound right and believable for about 20 minutes. We're going to talk the Ja Morant noise. We're going to do some mock drafts. This player is the next superstar. This player is a bust. Listen, I love all this stuff. I do, but I'm going to be real with you guys for a second. As somebody that grew up listening to sports radio in Chicago, sometimes I felt like people were just throwing things at the wall this time of year because they needed something to talk about. And I get that more than ever now. I get it. I'm doing this as a job, so I know I need topics. I need a debate. I need that. But at the same time, I'm still a fan. And as a Bulls fan, I've watched this team for years, searching for some big miracle move that was going to fix everything overnight, right? We all have. But most of the time, it never happened. We never really got the massive superstar, the free agents. We never really won that big blockbuster trade. So now, when I see people talking about trading everything to move up to number one, part of me gets excited. I'm not going to lie. The other part of me is just like, all right, let's calm down for a second, because the fourth pick is still an amazing spot to be in, especially in this draft that's so stacked. And for the first time in a long time, listen, man, the Bulls actually feel like a team with options instead of like a team operating out of a panic. So today we're gonna talk about the trade up rumors, whether the Bulls should even think about moving to number one, or maybe they should stay where they're at. So if you're new to this channel, please do me a favor and like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel more than you guys know. But with that being said, let's go right into it. All right, let's talk about the big question here. That's talking about the Bulls, right? What should the Bulls right now? What should they do right now? Should they stay? Should they move? Because according to reports, the Washington Wizards might actually be open to moving down. So immediately everybody's starting to connect the dots. What if the Bulls package 4 and 15? What if they throw in future picks? What if they get AJ? Banzia. I like his name. And listen, I get it. That guy looks like a freaking monster. He's 6'9", he's long, he can score, he's athletic. It looks like he can create his own shot. And for the type, it's the player that he's gonna be a problem for the next 10 years in this league. That's what I'm getting out of it. That's why people are excited. I get it, but this is where I think Bull fans need to slow down just a little bit, because just because a huge move sounds exciting doesn't mean automatically make it for the right move here, especially in this building. You still need depth. Okay, you need the athleticism, the defense, the shoot. You need it all. We need to figure it out. We still don't know what's going on, but what this core is even, we don't know yet. There's a bunch of assets, but what are we doing with it? We don't know. I don't know. Especially in a draft where people keep saying the top 4 guys all have superstar level upside. That's amazing. That's the part that keeps coming back to. This isn't the Wemby draft where there doesn't seem to be a massive gap between number 1 and number 4. So if that's true, why panic? Why panic? Why start throwing picks around before you even see how the board falls? And maybe this is just years of being a Chicago sports fan talking, but sometimes I think we fall in love with the idea of the big splash more than actual building process. Everybody wants shortcuts. I get it. So do I. Hey, but good teams usually don't get built that way. Let's be real. That's why I keep coming back to Bryson Grant, baby. If this guy is really the real deal and he's an elite talent evaluator, everybody should, that he says he is, then we got to trust him. Trust him at 4, trust him at 15, and trust him to build this thing correctly. Because for the first time in years, this doesn't feel like the Bulls are making moves out of desperation. It feels calculated. And as a Bulls fan, that's different. That's different. We don't normally see things like that here. So it's already feeling good. And that's why I think some people are acting like the fourth pick is like a consolation prize, when really this might actually be the perfect pick for the Bulls. For me, I don't want to move. And I think that's the part of this whole conversation that's getting lost right now. Bulls fans, they got lucky, right? We got lucky. And somehow we're acting, people like we're already disappointed getting that fourth pick. The Bulls moved from 9 to 4. That's a massive win already, especially in a draft where people keep saying the top 4 prospects all have star potential. That's why I keep coming back to the idea of just be patient. Hold on a second. You don't need to force the biggest move possible just because you have the assets. Now, listen, that's how bad organizations operate, right? Good organizations let the board come to them and form everything. Like, so we keep hearing about Bryson Graham. This guy seems like somebody that actually understands that. So he doesn't come off like he's a guy chasing headlines, which is great. He comes off like a guy that just wants a true rebuild and do the thing correctly. It's a huge difference. So, like, listen, if we end up getting that #1 pick and bringing that dude here, he's going to be a monster. I get that. But we'll see. There's still conversations that need to be had. So I understand that conversation. I really do. But people are talking about also Cam Boozer. Like, he could be a star. People love Darren Peterson. There's people who think, Caleb Wilson, who has crazy upside. If all these guys are good, why are we talking like the Bulls are stuck? That's what I don't understand. Like, these guys are gonna be a hit, right? We'll see. And I'll be real with you. There's part of me that's still actually like, #4. There's better ways we can. There's shifts like we have to learn how to do right now. You can sit back for a second and let the draft come to you, or you see how the board falls, which that's important too. And another thing people keep forgetting that the Bulls aren't just one player away yet, right? This isn't a finished team looking for its final piece. Like this is still a team building identity. We don't have no identity yet, and that's why keeping multiple assets matters. That's why keeping 15 for sure. I want that pick for some reason. I feel that one's gonna hit. This front office just feels like it already feels differently with Bryson in it. I'm already calling him Bryson like I know the dude, but I saw another interview with him earlier today, and he's excited for that 4th pick. He's excited for it. So it makes me excited as a Bull fan to see someone that's excited. I don't know about you guys, and that's why this offseason feels so different to me, because the Bulls actually finally have some real flexibility again, and that's where I want to talk to you in my next segment. And this might be the most important part of this entire conversation, because for years it felt like the Bulls were constantly just operating from a position of weakness. They had no cap space, not enough picks, just nothing. So boring, a boring product. But now this team actually has options. Like you've got the 4th pick, again, the 15th. You got a bunch of 2nd-round picks, like 30 of them. I don't even know how that's possible, but we do. We're gonna make it work. You got the cap space. You have a young piece. I'm gonna keep saying him in Matas, and I think people are genuinely excited about that. That's a real foundation, I think, and this is why I keep saying the Bulls don't need to operate out of desperation right now. They don't need to throw everything into a massive move just because they finally got lucky in the lottery, right? This is where smart teams stay patient, and I think that's why so many people are buying into the Bryson Graham thing right now. It's so quickly. He feels modern, right? He feels like someone who actually understands how the NBA works right now. You're gonna build through the draft, develop your talent. Keep that flexibility. Don't panic. Just chill for a little bit. That's how good organizations survive for so long. And look, the Bulls still have a lot. They still have a lot of work to do. Okay, they need the size. They still need the athleticism more than anything. They still need that true star player that changes everything. So they're also trying to figure out who's really part of this core also moving forward, right? But for the first time in a long time, it feels like they're trying to do it correctly, and that's something I can get behind. It feels different, and it doesn't feel like chaos right now. It feels like the front office they're not just throwing stuff at the wall hoping something works. It actually feels like an actual plan, and as a Bulls fan, that's probably the most encouraging part of this whole thing. So I'm excited. I know the city's excited right now because at the end of the day, I think Bulls fans aren't even asking for this like a championship right away. Like it's going to take a little bit, but at least we have a little bit of a direction. So, and I think that's where we land in all of this. Do I understand why people are excited about possible moving up to #1? Of course I do. And if you think a guy like AJ DeBonja is a generational conversation, talent, of course I get that. That's what sports fans do. We dream big. We talk ourselves into these crazy scenarios, right? We start building championship teams in our heads in the morning. I've done it for sure. I want Ja here, or do I? I don't know. Maybe next episode we'll talk about that. But that's part of the fun. At the same time, I don't want the Bulls to start acting desperate again. That's my biggest thing for me. For years, it just felt like this organization was always trying to find the fastest way out of mediocrity. And it's we don't need that anymore. I feel like we just took the next step, and I think Bulls fans are ready for that. I think Bulls fans are ready to be. We've been patient. We're done with the patience. We've been patient enough. But I'm excited. Like the city, if it's starting, the buzz is starting to create right now. I feel like I was at the doctor's office yesterday, and like the doctor talked to me about, hey, we got the number 4 pick. I'm like, yes, we do, Doc. So hey, if that's what I'm saying, if you put a plan and actually things happen, the city is gonna believe it more than ever. Because we're already here, we're already loyal to a fault. So why not just put a plan and give us a direction and give us something to have hope for? And that's where I'm at right now. But I don't know. That's gonna do it for today's episode, guys, of Bulls Latest. Let me know down below what you guys think. What we should do for the number 1. Should we stay at number 4? Should we move up to number 1? We're all fans at the end of the day. We're gonna ride this through and through. So, again, if you guys like what you hear and see, drop a comment below, and I'll see you on the next one. Go Bulls!